Well, maybe we won't see the countdown. I guess we won't. So welcome, everyone. We'll give everybody a few minutes to get in here. My name is Lucy Gray. I'm one of the organizers of the GLOW conference, and I'm very excited to introduce you to Jennifer Seydel, who is been hiking the Appalachian Trail for the last several months. And I hope she tells us a little bit about her adventures. But she is going to tell us about an organization that she used to be the executive director of and is now the ambassador for. So I'm going to read my little introduction. If you're in the chat, please introduce yourself. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and what your role is. We would love to know. So I'm going to go ahead and read my little spiel here, and hopefully all will go well. Okay. So think about a time when you learned something that you truly stuck, that you were still, and you probably doing something. I'm so tired right now. Let me start over here, guys. Okay, here we go. I have a little teleprompter that's helping me, and I need more than teleprompter, I think. Think about a time you learned something that truly stuck. You were probably doing something, not just listening. That's the power of experience, and that's what Dr. Jennifer Seydel believes every student deserves. Jennifer has led the Green Schools National Network as their executive director and now as an ambassador, and she brings decades of experience making sustainability real in schools. Her keynote addresses urgent challenges, climate change, and social equity by showing how experiential learning empowers students as active stewards and change makers in their own communities. She shares proven models from around the globe and challenges educators to see themselves as the change agents of our world needs. If you're passionate about authentic learning, sustainability, and equity, this session is for you. So please welcome Jennifer. We're so happy to have you here, Jennifer, and I will let you take it away.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Lucy. And thank you, Lucy, for all of the energy that you have invested in making this conference happen. I know putting on large events like this is always stressful, but driven by passion, even when you're fatigued, you can get through it. So thanks very much. Welcome, Martha. I see that you've signed in. I'd love to see other people's names coming up. And it's snowing in Reno, Nevada. Wow. We are just cold and gray here. I am located in Iowa City, Iowa. I did just return 2 weeks ago from the a through hike on the Appalachian Trail. I started in April in Damascus, Virginia, hiked all the way up to Mount Katahdin in Maine, and then returned to Damascus, Virginia, and hiked down to Springer Mountain in Georgia, and finished on October 27th, I believe it was. It was an amazing opportunity. It was 2,197 miles of sheer pleasure. I guess maybe that might be false. There were some physical challenges, and there were a number of times where I would say to myself, you better be very careful or you are not going to survive. So it was a challenge, but it was just wonderful. So again, Stephen, welcome from Costa Rica. We have a partner in Costa Rica. I was there a while back. It was wonderful. Carolina, welcome from Bogota, Colombia. Dr. Valino, welcome from, I don't see where you're from. Faye, my gosh, Faye, it's so good to see you here. I haven't seen you in years, but welcome. And I look forward to sharing the journey. Earl, welcome. So the Green Schools National Network developed back in 2007 as a group of charter schools who were innovating and committed to integrating environmental education across the curriculum. It has since evolved into a network of schools and school districts across the country and mainly in the US. We do have a couple of international partners, like I said, one in Costa Rica, that is doing amazing work. And we believe that every learner, not just a few with the classroom, with the great teacher, but every learner deserves to attend a healthy, equitable, and sustainable schools. We have, like I said, partners all across the country. You can visit our website at greenschoolsnationalnetwork.org. And at the bottom of the website, you can sign up for our newsletter. You can opt in for our newsletter. And I'll be sharing a little bit more about GSNN and our work through my presentation, but for the most part, I'm going to really challenge you to think about how best to bring real world issues and real world topics into your classroom. So the global snapshot, and I love the fact that we have a global audience. I don't get a chance to talk to global audience, but we have 8.2 billion people on the planet. We have superseded the carrying capacity of the planet, and rapid urbanization and resource demands on the planet are challenging us in a number of ways. As educators, what I think is most important for us to understand is 25% of the population are children of school age. So from the ages of 5 to 18. And those are the young people that we have an opportunity to influence every single day. They attend school and are in schools approximately 15,000 hours. And those hours should be spent helping influence them and help them understand the future, their future, and develop the skills and knowledge they need for their future. We all know climate change, social equity and inclusion, and public health are the most serious things that we are facing right now, as well as the depletion of organisms across the planet. And so I think that if we want our young people and their children, your grandchildren, and your great-grandchildren, if we want those children to have a quality of life, a high quality of life, it behooves all of us to invest our time and energy in thinking about how to integrate education for sustainability across the curriculum, not just for one class, but all day, every day, across the curriculum. So we know that schools, the children in our schools, will be shaping and making decisions that shape the 22nd century. We've been talking about 21st century schools for a long time, but we are 25%. We're a quarter of the way through this century, and we have yet to begin to talk about the 22nd century. Decisions made now affect the future of education and future generations. So I think it's important for all of us to begin to think about 22nd century education, the knowledge and skills students need for the 22nd century. Schools are sites for habit formation and civic identity. They are opportunities to create community and to help young people see themselves as agents of change for the future, or agents of creating a better world. So rather than just thinking about the content and the knowledge we can stuff in their heads, it's really critical for us to think about the experiences we can provide them that allow them to see themselves as active agents and with the capacity to influence the world around them, even at the age of 4. As a quick overview, when I talk about education for a sustainable future, I talk about the knowledge, skills, values, and attitudes needed to create sustainable and equitable future for all. Education for sustainability includes an integration of environment, society, and economy. And it really focuses on critical thinking and systems understanding. You cannot get those things from a book. Those things, critical thinking, systems understanding, critical thought, all of those things come from experience, from trial and error, and from opportunities to fail and learn from our mistakes. And when we are only teaching from a book and only teaching facts and only teaching things that you can get right on a test, we are not allowing and honoring the full capacity of humans for their brains and for their love of life and for the multiple contexts in which we live. So education for sustainability is critical in raising awareness of environmental and social issues. And like I said, builds informed, engaged students. Right now, the Green Schools National Network is hosting I'm going to pull up a screen here so I can share with you this really exciting opportunity called Spark the Change. This is our first year of hosting the 2026 National Student Solutions Showcase, and it's a virtual opportunity for students to showcase their work and an idea, take an idea that they have that can change your school or your community. So you can submit a project, anybody can participate. All of the rules are here on this website, greenschoolsnationalnetwork.org/greenspark. And students can participate. We've got opportunities for teachers to participate. And it's just an amazing thing. The proposal opened November 6th. They closed December 22nd. There will be an virtual information session, mentorship session. So my partners, the staff of the organization have really worked hard to put together the resources and tools needed to be able to make this happen. And you can see we have elementary, middle, and high school opportunities, and there will be digital showcases. Educator champions will create a digital gallery of the projects that are submitted. But again, committing to empowering students, giving students an experience that allows them to see themselves as agents and active community members, whether it be at school or in their community beyond school. Our schools need to honor and respect that children have the capacity, more capacity actually, than we give them credit for. I'm trying to get back to my slide presentation now. There we go. So in that process, in phenomenon, place, project, and problem-based learning, what we call at GSNN 4PBL, phenomenon, place, project, and problem-based learning. We teach skills that influence behavioral change. Again, going back to critical thinking, collaboration, teamwork, all of those things that we need to be able to survive in community. The projects at many of our schools are related to energy, waste, and various aspects of consumption. I wanted to lift up a school and tell you a little bit about a school, Discovery Elementary School in Arlington, Virginia. It was at one point the largest net zero school in the country, with a full solar lab on the roof where students could go up and manipulate the solar panels and then watch and look on their dashboard to see the influence they were having in changing the angles of the solar cells to be able to see how much energy was being collected. It allowed them to learn so many things about both energy consumption, because you could also look at the dashboard and see what energy was being consumed across the school. But you could also learn and understand the movement of the sun and the influence of the solar collectors on the angle of the solar collectors and the amount of energy they would be able to collect based on where the sun was. There are all sorts of things that can be translated into math, into science. The policies necessary for solar in schools and for solar across the country allow us to look at social issues and understanding attitudes around alternative energy, attitudes around climate change. All of those things are absolutely essential, but can only fully be understood in the context of an experience, in the context of something that you do. And if it is theoretical, it disappears quickly. The experience will anchor it to an emotion, to a person, to a place, to a thing. And that is what is most important about experience, that allows that experience to grow from one maybe 3-week unit of study, but it will link to who you are, what you learned about, the place that you learned it, the people that taught it to you, all of those, the group of children that you learned it with, all of those things become part of the experience and allow the memory to function. When we're learning from books and we're learning in traditional ways, none of those things are reality. So the experience in education for sustainability is absolutely essential. Those experiences also help support futures thinking and leadership. We are preparing by focusing on real world topics and issues and authentic learning. We are preparing teachers and students to address climate and societal change. And we're empowering students and leaders, teachers, to lead their communities. As an example, when we first started the work with Green Schools National Network, we started just working with individual schools. And when they were charter schools, it was great because they had the autonomy to be able to do what they were interested in doing, to be able to transform their curriculum in very innovative and creative ways. But what we felt is the sector of students in those schools was so small that it was important for us to begin to work at the district level. And so currently we are doing leadership development. The Green Schools National Network is doing leadership development at the district level with district level leaders, superintendents, facilities operators, assistant superintendents of finance and business, assistant superintendents of curriculum, the higher level decision makers in a school district, to help them understand the importance of sustainability and futures thinking to their students. So I have a slide here that you can see a little bit of work that was being done in Los Angeles County at one of our leadership summits. But we also partner with the United States Green Building Council and host a national conference every year where we bring together hundreds of people from across the country, the US, and we are getting an international audience now, which is excellent, to understand what's possible in schools. And again, for teachers and leaders, that experience is absolutely essential, because if we don't see it, we don't believe it can happen. And we do know that there are thousands and thousands of schools across the country who are doing this work on the facilities side, on the Green Schools facility side, but also beginning now to integrate it across the curriculum. And we're seeing super exciting things happening. The conference this next year will be February 17th through the 19th in San Diego, California. And it will, like I said, bring together people from across the country who will be sharing their stories and helping others understand what's possible. Educators learn best from educators. And in many cases, children learn best from their peers as well. So we create these opportunities for young people and for leaders to learn from each other. And I would encourage all of you to consider attending if you're interested at all in seeing whole school systems shifting and changing. When we first started the conference in 2000, my gosh, I think the first conference was in 2009. A lot of individual teachers and individual school leaders were presenting. What we're seeing now, which is super exciting, is teams of teachers, teams of leaders from districts across the country and from across the world coming to the conference to be able to learn from each other and to be able to visit sites and schools and school districts that are doing this work, to be able to see how they can implement these practices. There's also a resource. I haven't been on this website for a while. We had been publishing a peer-reviewed journal until 2023. And then the organization started growing in some interesting ways. And so I had to move my attention in other places. But the Green Schools Catalyst Quarterly is another resource that I think is wonderful to share. And I'm going to pull that screen up. And Lucy, if you could put that website, this website, Green Schools National Network /GSC Catalyst /store action. This is, again, is available. And what I haven't been on here for a while, I'm not seeing the last 2 years of issues on here. We'll have to look and see where they are. But this was our early literature review about what was possible. And so you can see that there is a whole issue on crafting the future, how students can shape the future. There's an issue on policy. There's an issue on net zero energy and net zero waste. We have another one on environmental and sustainability literacy. We have one that talks about the role of schools in creating community resilience. This Cracking the Cover book is one of my favorites. It's about the school building as a three-dimensional textbook. So what you can learn from studying the different systems of the school. We often want to take our students out for field work for experience, but we can do some pretty dynamic experiences right in the building. This one on purposeful learning is about place-based, project-based, and problem-based learning. It's about 4 PBL. We have a whole issue on transforming school food systems. Again, making a difference through civic engagement, which is that futures thinking. We have a whole issue on the impact of school transportation systems and how to transform and reduce carbon through school transportation issues. We have an issue related, back in COVID. We have secure, safe, sustainable schools. Sustainable schools begin with equity. So the final issues, the issues in 22 and 23 reflect similar topics. But like I said, these were our literature review and looking at the research and data that was available to us to be able to shape what we now call our green print. And I'm going to move to another screen here. And let's see, here we go.
Do you want slides or the website?
No, the website. I figured it out. I had too many screens open.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Sorry.
yeah, when you
I
go
also
to,
put it on stage for you. So there we
oh,
go.
there you go. So when you go to our website, this is our green print for healthy, equitable, and sustainable schools. You can download the document as a PDF. And it is divided into, I'm going to change my screen again. Stop. This is the exciting part about changing tabs. I have them all open. Here we go. So the green print is a PDF, downloadable. And what we have identified is that there are 4 systems that are really exciting. Let me see if I can get that up. Lucy, can you help me share that PDF? Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So this document shows and identifies core practices related to leadership, culture and climate, curriculum and instruction, and facilities and operations. And we worked with school district leaders across the country to identify these core practices. And our team has been working to develop an evaluation system and a dashboard that allows school districts to understand their level of implementation. If you're familiar with the United Nations Green Education Partnership, the green print is much more specific and detailed in comparison to the Green Schools Guide from the United Nations. They are parallel. They call the systems of change a little different, but they are really exciting documents to be able to look at and learn from if you're interested in beginning to transform your school or your school district. So again, when we talk about what's critical, that shell that the student is attending and the behaviors of the adults, the leadership structures and systems, the type of curriculum, teaching and learning that the students are being exposed to, the culture, the programs that are shaping culture, the culture and climate of the school, and then the physical plant are all models for what the future can be, what a healthy, equitable, and sustainable future can be. So the green print outlines what we believe schools could look like, sound like, and feel like if we really did want to shape a sustainable future. So I've talked a little bit about the Green School building site and the importance of the Green School building site as a model for dreaming about the future. The architecture, the solar, green roofs, rainwater harvesting, all of the physical structures in a building can shape and allow students and teachers and the community to vision a different future. And we also talk a lot about design as a teaching tool and a model. I thought I'd lift up, this school is not necessarily in our network, but it's one of my favorite schools. It's in Kenya. I was able to visit there when I was in Africa a few years ago. It's actually one of the greenest schools in the country. It is designed to harvest rainwater, and that rainwater, the rainwater catchments are on the side of a building where the students now have actual active gardens where they are growing crops that are being used in the lunch program. The school serves students, faculty, and the surrounding community. It was actually designed with the community. The lighting system. The building is oriented so there's no electricity is needed. There are solar tubes and other structures that help bring full light into the schools. And if you've ever been in some of the under schools in underdeveloped countries, it is pretty frightening, the lack of light in those learning environments. So this water bank school is one of my favorite. The Since it's when it first opened, attendance increased to 95%, which was pretty dramatic because students in rural parts of Africa find it a challenge to get to school. And so it's a really beautiful opportunity. So the curriculum in a green school or in a school that is focused on education for sustainability has a very unique way of being able to leverage the standards that you're supposed to teach in school. We're held accountable as educators. We're held accountable to certain standards that our students need to learn and certain skills that our students need to learn. So we use phenomenon principles from phenomenon-based learning from the Netherlands to help us begin to look at person, place, thing, or event that can allow us, that can bring life into the curriculum. And so at whatever level in primary school, if we are teaching about life cycles, we might, focus on butterflies that we can bring into the classroom that allows our students to be able to witness and experience the full life cycle of an organism. At the high school level, if we're learning about viruses, we might be able to look at different ways of understanding proteins and how proteins work together within the body at the cellular level, and in some pretty exciting ways. So we look for a phenomenon. COVID would be the phenomenon, but we would use the impact of COVID in our community, and I'm going up to middle school or high school, the impact of COVID in our community. Then we would begin to look at, if once we understand the science and the social science of what happened with COVID, we would design a project, maybe a research-based project that would help us understand and learn the research skills and the literacy skills to write a research paper. And then what we've learned from the research, we might begin to design something to address a problem that we've identified in our research. So we use phenomenon, place, project, and problem-based learning not separately, but as an integrated learning cycle. If you understand what the experiential learning cycle is, you normally have an experience, you have a reflection, you learn deeper, you go deeper into the topic, then you have another reflection, and you begin to unpack what you've learned and apply what you've learned to the real world. That's a full experiential learning cycle. And when we begin to look at the gold standard for phenomenon, place, project, and problem-based learning and link those things together in a learning cycle, we can see, we can build unbelievable experiences for young people. Our team now does educator workshops in the summer based on 4PBL and helping teachers develop 4PBL units. But in our green print, we believe that every child every year should have a significant experience grounded in 4PBL. It can be an outdoor learning experience, or it can be something based on a community event. But these are some of the outdoor learning opportunities that we can identify. School gardens, edible schoolyards, food systems are critical. I had a second grade focus on root crops and they did a poetry slam on root crops. And they used the root crops that they had developed and created a community dinner for their family, using all sorts of root crops. They made hash, and they did a roasted root crop experience for their families. And they began to understand the importance of root crops in their health. So also environmental science and immersive programs. We've done some amazing watershed studies at the middle school level. Watersheds are a topic that it integrates all of the science content. It also when you are using USGS data, you can incorporate math, and you can begin to look at levels of pollutants in your own water. There are new testing systems now that are really phenomenal. Students are adopting streams across the country to understand levels of nitrates. I live in Iowa, where we have the highest cancer rate in the country, and we can link it all back to agricultural chemicals. And our young people are beginning to notice that. There's also real world learning and 4PBL learning that can happen with recycling, composting, waste tracking. And again, at each grade level, there are topics that we've been able to identify that are hot topics, that can bring the content together using phenomenon. And then we can look at something happening in place to bring it to life, and then go into a project and a problem-based learning opportunity for that full cycle to bring it home and experience. What we are finding is, with that experience, the student agency and the professional and community development that begins to happen are amazing. The culture of a school shifts. That's why in our green print, climate and culture is one of our systems that we look at. When students begin to care about their community, about their school, when they are given opportunities to take responsibility for things, they begin to shape a different school culture. They become, they own the culture. It's not the adult's responsibility. It becomes their community. So I think that that student agency, the power in the experience, is critical. It also brings hope that when you take action, in a world that is so filled with so many crises as we are right now, when young people and faculty and leaders, when we take action to address those issues, we can feel hope. And it's that hope that is absolutely essential for us to keep moving forward. Without hope, we become apathetic. We become depressed. We can't find purpose. And so I think that the power of the experience, the power of experiential learning, is absolutely essential. So I'd like you to take a minute, for those of you that are still online, what are some things that I talked about? Three concrete things that you might be able to do in your own learning environment. And just jot one of them in the chat. And I'm going to sit here quietly to give you some opportunities to think. What might you do? One thing at whatever grade level you're teaching, might you do related to sustainability, using phenomenon, place, project, or problem-based learning to provide an experience that can shape knowledge, skills, and attitudes needed for a sustainable future? Think about one thing that you can do. And type it in. If you're brave enough, please type it into the chat. Yay, Faye. Lucy, thank you. Faye, if you want some ideas about where that's happening, let me know. Stephen, that's great. We've got folks in some of our schools using footprint calculators, which is great. I think I have a unit somewhere if you need it. Thanks, Lucy. I'm not familiar with the Right Question Institute. I'll have to look that up. Thank you. So the green team at the end here, Steve, Lucy can give you my email and you can, or actually I can put Lucy, you could put my email in the chat and I can, Steve, if anybody has questions or needs examples of things, I can send them. I love that. Schools are where habits are made. They are. It's really, really critical. Dawn, great. One of the things about having students identify and brainstorm ideas, when we're trying to build a learning community at the higher grades, upper grades, I really believe that strategy is important. At the lower grades, I like to provide an experience first and then challenge the students to brainstorm their ideas about the problems that emerge. It gives them a common ground, a common base, and common language to discuss all of the issues in their brainstorm. And it then allows them to focus on something together. So when we talk about that place-based learning, that oftentimes that place-based unit or experience is something that gives students helps build conceptual foundations and academic vocabulary that allows them to think about a problem in a specific area. So if when you open the door so wide that they can identify any problem in their community, it is overwhelming. But if you have a place-based experience where you are understanding or learning about some particular homelessness, let's say we have an experience on homelessness, then the children can begin with, they'll have a language and they'll have personal experience and they'll have some background to be able to ask some serious questions and identify the problems. And then you have your whole classroom focused on a problem. And so they can build, you become like a research director and you can build a research team, and the kiddos can identify specific questions related to homelessness and they can go deep in that topic together or as individuals, but they're all studying homelessness. So they all then have common ground and common language to be able to help each other, rather than the teacher trying to help with 20 different problems that they're trying to solve. they're all working on solving problems in a common area and on a common topic. So I love that. Great. We only have 5 minutes left. I can't believe that. But I'm going to say, do you have any questions? If you have any questions for me, let's take a couple minutes. If you have a question, throw it in there. And Lucy, if you want to put my email address in there, that'd be great. But does anybody have any questions of me about Green Schools National Network, about the national conference, about my hike on the Appalachian Trail, anything?
So how do schools get involved with the network? I mean, what's a good entry point? Is it coaching from the organization, as a district level leadership type of thing, or can individual teachers get involved and receive professional development somehow? What's your recommended approach?
So recommended approach is that we like to work at the school and the district level. So we're looking at whole systems change. If an individual is interested in learning more and building out their network, the national conference is a great place to go. If they would like to influence and their principal and bring their principal to the table, if they're at a building level, or if they're at a district level, bringing other district level leaders into the fold, we can have individual conversations with them to determine their path. So
Okay.
every school and every district, we customize their action plans, and I can share some of the action plans.
Oh, that would be great. We'd love to see that.
Um,
And also out of curiosity, I guess another question I have is, are there recommended readings that you suggest for people who want to move their school in this direction? Any books or articles or anything that you can think of off the top of your head that are a good starting point?
Yeah, so the Green Schools Catalyst Quarterly is great. We
Okay.
put that
Yeah.
link in,
Okay.
and that's topic specific. And each of those journals include articles written by teachers, school leaders, and academics. So and students. Some of them have student voice in as well. And so those are a really nice place to. And you asked about books, and I didn't even think we published a book a couple of years ago, Trailblazers in Whole School Sustainability. And it's a really beautiful collection of case studies from across the country. And we can put that, I can see if I can find that, put that link.
I'm asking too many questions and you
Yeah,
have to.
and Stephen, it is United World Colleges of Costa Rica. So we've been working with them on some curriculum redesign, and as they're building a new building, which is going to be amazing. It should open next year sometime. So I've been down there on site a couple of times. It's really going to be an amazing building. So
I feel like international school leaders kind of get this, big time.
Yeah.
I've done a long time ago, I did some work in Singapore and visited Beijing and saw a bunch of schools, and I felt like they were out of the box leaders, they, in general. And so that leads to the question from Don. Do you have any kind of relationship with the Green School in Bali, which I've heard about, Michael Furtick, who's from Taking It Global, who's been a collaborator of ours, visited there last year, the year before, and it sounds amazing. I've looked at their website. Do you know about them?
I do know about them. I have always wanted to visit them. They've come up to the conference a couple of times, so I've met them. But they are an amazing school. They're not a part of our network. Again, they're doing some amazing work. So they have resources that many schools don't have, and
Yeah.
so, but they are doing amazing work. It's always, whenever I go out onto their website, I salivate.
Yeah, exactly. There's an interesting school in Chicago, and I don't know if they're part of your network. I haven't been involved with them in a long time. But I was part of a couple of design charrettes Academy for Global Citizenship.
Yeah, I know AGS, know them well.
Okay.
They have been superficially a part of the network.
Okay.
They've been to the conference. I know their founder personally, so
Yeah, Sarah.
yeah,
Yeah. Sarah Elizabeth, I
yeah,
think. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, I went to a planning charrette for them a long time ago before their building was even,
yeah.
close to completion or even, was just being thought of. And I loved how their school, their mascot was like the orcas or something, or something, cute, environmental,
Yeah.
and their new building looks amazing. They had a tour of it in September, kind of a meetup type of
I
thing.
think they
I
opened
couldn't,
when I was on the trail, so I haven't
yeah, I wish I could have gone too.
go
Yeah.
yet.
I'm always interested in hearing about innovative schools,
Yeah.
in general.
There's another really great school north of Chicago, Prairie Crossing. It's a
Oh,
charter school.
yep, that's
They
close
are
to the Great Lake.
they are really amazing. If you let me know, Greg or Jeff, excuse me, was the president of our board for a while, and I worked with them. They're still really important partners in the network.
So yeah, there are not very many charter schools in Illinois outside of Chicago.
Yeah,
It's which is, I think, odd, but because Wisconsin's a little bit different with their approach to charters.
yeah.
So I'm putting Prairie Crossing in the chat. I have to do it in two different places. And then Green School Ballet I was going to put in the chat too. And the Academy for Global Citizenship I will do as well. Anybody else have questions? Or Jennifer, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I think that educating for a sustainable future is no longer an option. It's a
Mhm.
necessity. And I think that's the call to action, is that one thing that you can do, if we all influence one school, that's great. If we can influence 10 schools, it's even better. But if you have any questions, you can contact me. You can, come to the conference in San Diego this year. It moves around the country. So if you can't get to California, you can, I'm not sure where it's going to be the following year, but we'd love to meet you and make friends. And it's pretty amazing work when you see it's happening. And Lucy, if you want to schedule a call sometime, I can share some of the sustainability action plans.
Yeah, absolutely. I would love to learn more and collaborate in any way. Uh, and I guess we'll wrap up with your Appalachian Trail adventure. What was your hardest day on the trail?
The last day,
Really?
oh, it wasn't hard in physical climbing. It was hard in that it was the upper 30s and pouring rain.
Oh,
I had stopped, I would have been hypothermic. It was the most miserable day of hiking that I had had the whole time. I was hiking in water that was up to my ankles. It was raining so hard.
oh
Um,
my goodness.
I know it was, so my hardest day was the last day, which made it a little anticlimactic, but also made it really good to get off the trail.
Did you do this by yourself or did you go with other people?
I solo hiked most of the way. I started by myself. I met people along the way. And so I had a friend who I had met in Virginia. She lived in northern Georgia. She came down and hiked the last couple of days. So I wasn't by myself. I started in April and ended in October. So I was out away from home for 7 months, but I was off trail for about 45 to 50 days. So it was
Okay.
about a 6 month, hike. So,
Would you do it again?
no, I loved it. So I've been a backpacker my whole life.
Yeah.
What was hard about a through hike, and I think everybody has to consider this, is it's like a job. You get up every day and you have to make a certain amount of miles to
Yeah.
be able to finish a through hike. And so a little bit of the joy disappears when you have to just keep moving and you can't stay in one place and really immerse yourself and enjoy it. And I think that when I backpack, I love immersing myself. I mean, the whole thing was pretty much a solo, but it was a moving solo. It wasn't a solo where I could sit and really reflect and let the land speak to me. And so it was pretty amazing. I'm 69, so I had osteoporosis. I'm blind in my right eye, and I have metal in my right ankle. And so slow, steady, safe was my mantra. And
Never give up. It's
no,
awesome.
just this persistence, I think, was the most important thing.
And I think probably the best thing of all was you're away from um, the the climate in this country right now. I think taking a break from all that would be,
It was, it
yeah,
was
good for your
really
health.
nice. It's been very difficult to come back and see the news every day.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, we've got 2 more hours, I think, of sessions, and then I'm going to close up the conference at 6. So I want to let everybody go on to the next set of rooms and support our next set of speakers. There are some great sessions still going on to the bitter end. Everyone, you can do it. If I can stay here, you can stay here. And Jennifer, I love this conversation. I love this presentation. I've loved learning more about Green Schools National Network, and I'll be in touch.
all
Okay.
right. Excellent. Excellent.
All right. Thanks for coming and being part of this. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. And thanks everybody who attended. We'll learn from each other. We'll keep learning and communicating. Awesome.
All right.
Take
Sounds good.
care. Mhm.